Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Kanada'nın popüler üniversitelerinden Vancouver Island Üniversitesi'de eğitimi Mikael'den dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Mikael, the stage is yours now.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Zeynep. Hello, everyone. My name is Mikhail Ivanov. I am from Vancouver Island University based in Canada. And today we'll talk about education in Canada and what it takes for you to apply to VIU, join the university, and travel to Canada to study. I'll first play a short video, then we'll go to the presentation, and at the very end, we'll answer your questions. So yeah, feel free to drop your questions or comments in the chat. So let me share my screen and play a short video with you first. 1 second. Okay, I hope you could hear the video and see the video okay. So probably you have quite a few questions about what the university is about and what it takes to study at Vancouver Island University. So let me jump straight to that and share the presentation with you, which won't be that long. I'll try not to bore you with it, and so that we can dedicate a bit more time to your questions at the very end. Let me see here. I'll just share this. Okay, perfect. So hope you can see it okay. So we named Vancouver Island University, and as you could guess from the name, we are based on Vancouver Island. So the first question I get asked all the time, where exactly in Vancouver we are. So we are not in the city of Vancouver, but on the island. So if you had a dream to live on the island, so that's you can accomplish this dream now when moving to Nanaimo. So that's where we are, quite close to Vancouver. If you take a flight, it's only 12 to 13 minutes. Actually, I tested it. And if you take a ferry, it's about 1.5 hours. Just because we are based on the island in a smaller city, it's cheaper to study, cheaper to live, but you will still receive a high quality education. That's why lots of students join us for high quality education, lower cost of living, lower cost of accommodation. But once they graduate, they sometimes stay on the island, sometimes move to Vancouver, to Toronto, elsewhere in Canada. So what Island is about? So it's not just about studying, it's about enjoying Canada, right? Experiencing new country, new culture. So here, it's all about nature. So you can do it. Any sports you want, summer sports, winter sports, you can experience perhaps nature you've never seen before, orcas, whales, bears, all that, if you go to the parks. But outside of that, any kind of sports related to nature, kayaking, swimming, surfing, climbing, skiing in the mountains, if you prefer that. Speaking of university itself and our students, so right now we have about close to 14,000 students, and about 2,000 of them are international students coming from all over the world, from Turkey as well. What students really like about VIU is that we have smaller classes, so it really helps with students, helps students communicate with our professors, and that improves quality of education. So smaller classes, more closer kind of intimate environment. At the same time, lower cost of accommodation and education, as I've mentioned, smaller, safer cities, no traffic, no commute, much of a commute, and very friendly environment Canada is famous for. So all that you can get here at VIU. Speaking of the programs that we offer, we are one of just a few universities, public universities in entire Canada, where students can even join us for the high school. So we have high school on campus. So if someone is, if you, let's say, or perhaps if you're a bit older, you have children, if your children are at high school, then they can join VIU and complete their grades 10, 11, 12 at high school, and then join us for our undergraduate programs, which is 1-year certificate, 2-year diplomas, or a bachelor degree, which is a 4-year program. If you're a bit more older, you can perhaps apply for our graduate programs. Those would be postgraduate certificates, postgraduate diplomas, they're 1 or 2-year programs, or 2-year masters. And of course, we have the language center as well. So if your language, let's say English language proficiency is not at the right level yet, you can join us a bit earlier, improve your language skills, and then transition to the program of your choice. Before we go any further, please answer a couple of questions for me. So the first question is what you'd like to study at VIU, any kind of specific program perhaps, and what's important to you. Is it the country, maybe Canada, Australia, UK, whatever country you're applying for, or city, maybe small or large city, maybe you want to go to a specific city in the world, or is it cost, or maybe a program, or maybe you would like to stay closer to your family and friends, and that's what's most important to you, or maybe something else. This glass is from Turkey, by the way. Speaking of high school, so I won't talk about it much. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat, or we can connect one-on-one later on to discuss your questions. But high school is right on campus of the university. It's not that big. That's why during pandemic, when all other schools were closed in Canada, our school stayed open because it was easily to socially distance. And speaking of pandemic, by the way, Canada is quite safe compared to most of the other countries in the world. And within Canada, considering that we are on the island, we're quite, super safe actually as well. However, we still have a requirement, so it's mandatory to wear masks in public places. But other than that, we're quite safe. So we have about 100 students at our high school, and it's nearly 50-50 mix of Canadian and international students. Going straight to our undergraduate programs, there are a few specific requirements which every applicant needs to meet. First would be a high school diploma, let's say the one from Turkey or elsewhere, where you completed your high school, where we would look at the average grades and see if you have any specific subjects, let's say math or physics or chemistry. And would be second requirement would be the language. requirements. So you'll need to submit IELTS, TOEFL, or one of other international tests. If you're considered an undergraduate program, let's say BBA, then you need to score 6.5 in IELTS with no band lower than 6. 120 programs to choose from, so quite a bit of a choice. It can be within business, can be within science, arts. Later on, we can talk about this more if you have any specific program in mind. If you think of 2 programs, it's still possible to do. You can select major and minor, or sometimes study 2 minors, for instance. If you think of arts, then first year is general, and then you specialize starting from the second year. Can be economics, can be criminology, can be English, quite a few programs. Within business, BBA is our most popular choice. First year is general. Starting from the second year, you choose one of 7 available specializations, whether it's accounting, management, marketing, finance. And it's not just Canada-focused education, it's internationally focused education. So if you move back to Turkey after you graduate, you will still very well be able to apply all the skills and knowledge back home as well. This program requires you to have math at grade 12 or pre-calculus at grade 12. Canada, especially where we are on the west coast of Canada, on the Pacific Ocean, this region is very popular for its tourist destination. Lots of international tourists, especially from the United States, come here. So that's why we have quite a few hospitality and tourism related programs, whether they're shorter programs, 4-year bachelors, or even masters, 2-year masters. Within science and technology, the most popular programs would be our Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, but we also have quite a few other choices. These programs also have specific requirements. So when you submit your application online, check if you have in your high school transcript biology, math, or physics. If you don't have those subjects, then we have special program where you can meet those requirements, study for 1 semester, and then transition to the first semester of your Bachelor of Science. Engineering programs, I know they're quite popular. When I've been to Turkey last time, I had quite a few questions about our engineering programs. This relates to our older days when we were at college, not a public university, about 30 years ago. So here we don't have a 4-year bachelor degree, but we have pathway programs. When you start with us, study first 2 years with us, and then transfer to one of our partner universities in Canada. That helps you to save on costs. As you can see, this engineering transfer program is only roughly $18,500 compared to maybe $30,000 if you study elsewhere. And it also makes it a smoother transition. It's easy to get accepted into our pathway program rather than into first-year engineering program, let's say somewhere in Toronto. Once you complete our pathway program, we can transfer either to University of Victoria, which is on the island as well, in the capital city of Victoria, or University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Simon Fraser University, or Thompson River University. Speaking of education and health field, very popular programs as well, especially for those who want to immigrate to Canada, because there is currently a shortage of qualified professionals in this particular field. So we have a lot of students applying for our diploma in early childhood education, as well as a couple of bachelor programs. Bachelor of Kinesiology is a new program which we just launched as well. Moving on to graduate programs. Not too many options, however, perhaps a program for everyone to look for and choose from. The most popular program at this level would be our MBA. It's a 2-year master's program, so 20 months is 2 academic years, which means that once you complete this program, you are able to apply for a 3-year-long post-graduation work permit if you're interested and stay in Canada, practice your skills for 3 years upon your graduation. If you're interested in studying business, you will be glad to know that we do not require a GMAT as an entrance exam. However, we do require at least 1 year of work experience. So if you're fresh out of school, just completed your bachelor's, if you don't have any experience, then you won't be able to apply. If you do have at least 1 year, that's great. Other than that, you'll need to submit your IELTS with 7.0 score. If you don't have work experience, or if you don't want to spend 2 years on your master's, then you can consider our 1-year program in business. That is a graduate certificate. For this program, you can apply right after you complete your bachelor degree. And if someone studies in Canada for 1 year, they're able to apply for 1-year post-graduation work permit. If you're into trades or project management, we have separate 1-year programs just for you. Those would be diplomas, graduate diplomas in international trade and in project management. All these programs start in September. Some of them, like MBA, have January intake as well. But if you want to start studying in September next year, then you should apply now. So starting from October 1st this year, we'll start accepting applications for September next year. Speaking of language, if you don't have the right score yet in your IELTS or TOEFL, let's say it's 6.5 for our undergraduate programs or 7 for our masters, then you can join us a bit earlier, 3 months, half a year in advance, and practice your skills. We've got several levels for you to work on. And if you are looking into, let's say, applying for BBA, then you'll need to be at UP5 level. Each level improves your IELTS score by half band. And if you want to apply for masters, let's say MBA, then you need to complete grad prep. But learning English is not just about practicing your reading, writing, listening, speaking. It's also about fun activities, whatever we can see on the island here, as well as in Vancouver. So you practice your language in natural environment. You connect one-on-one with our teachers, with other students as well. And by the way, we don't have this much snow, only in January, and if you go into mountains. We're actually in one of the warmest regions in Canada. Last winter, we had maybe 3 days of snow maximum. So in summer, it's about 25 Celsius, in winter, about +6, still, sometimes +3. So yeah, lots of fun, lots of support, specifically for international students. Speaking of that support, we have a separate building just for you, and that's where I work, where you can come for all your needs with all the questions you have, whether they're related to your academic success, or the project, the subjects you need to choose, or your immigration paperwork, or if you're looking for housing options, or just one-on-one counseling. You're welcome to come and ask all the questions you have. Speaking of housing, we have a few options as well. First would be to live on campus, of course, and most of our on-campus residences are dedicated to first-year international students. So all you need to do is just to let us know in advance, and you will be living in one of these townhouses, as you can see here on the left-hand side. I lived there myself for a few weeks. It's quite cozy, and it's right on campus. So if you walk like those two students do, it will take you 30 seconds maybe to reach your classes. If you live off campus, it's a smaller town of roughly 100,000 residents. So if you live off campus, you don't need to spend time taking metro, taking multiple buses, spending an hour just to commute to VIU. Instead, maybe 15, 20 minutes maximum, and you are on campus. From our campus, based on top of the hill, you can actually see the city and the ocean and the mountains on the background. The third option is to stay with the Canadian family. So homestay is option most of our exchange students choose. However, it is possible to stay with Canadian family as well for our both undergraduate and the postgraduate students. This is the floor plan. Before, you had an option of living 1 or 2 students per room. Now it's strictly 1 student per room, but bathroom is shared between 2 students. We're quite active in sports as well, and we are bringing back our sports or athletic scholarships next year. So if you are an avid soccer player, basketball, volleyball player, then you can apply for our athletic scholarship. If you're just casually enjoying sports like badminton, hockey, rugby, baseball, golf, all this, then you can join one of our teams. Now, a few more fun questions for you about money, because it's more important. So actually, not a question, but suggestion. So here, as you can see that the rent in Nanaimo, in the city where we're based, is nearly 45% actually lower than in Vancouver, one of the most expensive cities in the world. Students can work on campus 20 hours per week, so you can study and work. And during the break between semesters, you can work full-time. The minimum wage per hour is 15.2 Canadian dollars, which is one of the highest in the country. And Canada is not cheap overall compared to other countries, so eating out is a bit expensive as well. So it's important to learn how to cook and how to save money as well. Even though quite a few deals available to VIU students in the city, it's important to know all those little things that potentially can save you a lot of money. Going straight to the cost of education. So undergraduate programs first. We are transitioning to charging per credit. So it's a credit-based system. The more credits you take, the more courses you take each semester, the higher education will be. But at the end, it all evens out. So, and it becomes roughly 17,500 Canadian dollars per year. So Canadian dollar is somewhat 25 to 30% cheaper than American dollar. So this would roughly be 12,000 US dollars, roughly, or 17.5 Canadian. Other expenses can vary. They can go up or high depending on how much you spend. But yeah, books, food, accommodation, you don't need to pay for that in advance. So once you apply, if you're accepted, you pay tuition deposit, the rest comes later. At the postgraduate level, our most expensive program is MBA. It's a 48,000 Canadian dollars per program, which is 2 years. So $24,000 per year. Other programs within education, within hospitality and tourism, they cost a bit cheaper. Sometimes, let's say, if you go for Master of Education, it's 26,000 Canadian dollars for 2 years, which makes it 12,000 per year. And of course, lots of questions I always get about life after education. So about half of international students prefer to stay in Canada. So if you study, once you graduate, you're able to apply for post-graduation work permit, which can be either 1, 2, or 3 years, depending on what you studied, how long. And there are multiple pathways to your immigration to Canada if you're interested. We have licensed immigration consultants as well on our campus. But first step is to apply, of course. So it's done on our website, www.viu, Vancouver Island University.ca. Very easy to submit the application, starting from October 1st, in just a couple of weeks from now. Application fee is 150 Canadian dollars. And then within 2 weeks, roughly, you get the reply. But it's always better to start early, not to wait until the last moment. Otherwise, the intake, the program intake may close. Or you're welcome to contact me. So feel free to take a screenshot of this image and send me a meeting request, perhaps if you want to talk one-on-one, or just drop your questions to my email or our general email. And yep, that's about it. Okay, hope I didn't go too fast or too slow, but yeah, let's see what questions you have. Let's see here. Okay, do you have cinema master's program? So we do have a few programs related to arts. I skipped them for now because there's just so many programs. We have theater related program, but we don't have cinema specifically related programs at VIU. There is one university in Vancouver that offers that option. However, many pathways may lead you to career in cinema. And Vancouver, British Columbia, is they call Hollywood North, actually, just because of so many projects are going on in all around Vancouver. So we don't have cinema specifically related program, but there are a few options at the undergraduate level that offer you to study theater. Okay, what are the suitable programs or internship opportunities for mining engineering? Okay, so well, let's say a lot of programs at VIU have internship options, so you can practice what you study for half a year. Some programs have co-ops as well. Co-op is a paid internship. So internships normally are unpaid, but if you have a co-op, it's normally longer and paid practice. Speaking of engineering specifically, we have 1 and 2 year transfer programs where you start your education with us, you learn the basics, and then you transfer. So with us, we offer general engineering, and that since it's the beginning of your education in Canada, you are not at that stage where you practice your skills. So once you transfer to our partner university and complete your year 3 and 4, that's when you have practice specialization in either mining engineering or perhaps in some, let's say, automotive engineering, electrical engineering, and that's when you get to the internships. That can be either on the island where we are or in Vancouver. Okay, so question about cost and job opportunities. So I've covered the costs quickly now. So we cost roughly as much as some colleges, let's say in Ontario, but we are not a college, we are a public university, which is a great thing. So we cost about half of what some other universities in Canada will cost for you. So that's a great money saving opportunity. On top of that, as I've showed, it's cheaper to live in Nanaimo as well. Speaking of jobs, so most of the students, once they graduate, they complete their internships, they have a bit of experience, and then they look for the jobs throughout Canada. Depending on what they study, if they study tourism, hospitality, quite often they stay either on our island or move to Vancouver. If they study business or engineering, they move to either Alberta, which is a neighboring province, or go to Toronto. So I know students everywhere, and even during pandemic, when the economy was hit quite a bit, they still were, all of them, or nearly all of them, were able to find jobs quite quickly. So I personally connected with some students. They were in Vancouver, they were in Toronto, and the ones I spoke to, all of them had jobs. Okay. Do you have German master programs? Well, we are in Canada, we don't offer anything related to German programs. However, we do have, each year we have more than between 30 and 100 students from Germany. We have good partners in Germany. Okay. Is one of the engineering programs has thesis? Perhaps once you transfer to our partner universities. But here at VIU, you study either engineering transfer certificate program or you complete engineering transfer diploma. So you study for 1 or 2 years, receive your first qualification, certificate or diploma. You can stop at that level or you can transfer, and that's where you might have thesis depending on which program you choose. So quite a few programs about engineering. Okay. Co-ops as well. So that once you transfer, you may have an internship or a co-op. Okay. Question about PhD programs. So here at VIU, we don't offer PhD programs. We offer 2-year masters or postgraduate certificates or diplomas. Okay, fees for the language courses at VIU. Great question. So the fees for ESL courses depend on how long you have to study. They structured as levels. Each level is 13 weeks long, and each of those levels costs 5,200 Canadian dollars. There is another option as well when you can join one of our language partners, one of the several private schools in Canada. They have locations in Toronto, they have locations in Vancouver. You study there, and then you transfer to us, complete one level of ESL, which is $5,200, and then join either undergraduate or postgraduate program. So when you apply for your program of your choice, let's say business, anything in business, you submit your IELTS or TOEFL score, and then we'll see whether you meet direct entry requirements, meaning that you don't need to complete any language course at all, Or if your test is lower, then you'll receive a conditional offer, meaning that first you'll learn the language and then the other program of your choice. And we will tell you how many levels of language you need to complete. Once you receive that offer, if you, let's say, retake IELTS or TOEFL and you receive a new higher score, then you're welcome to submit it as well, and your conditional offer can be changed. It can be removed at all, the condition, or the number of levels of ESL may be reduced. Does the Canadian government give us a residence and work permit after 13 weeks of ESL? Do we need to do an internship after 13 weeks of courses? Okay, if you apply for language course and let's say BBA or bachelor degree, then you won't be able to work off campus while you learn language. You can work on campus. Once you complete your language course, once you start your actual degree program, then you can work on campus and off campus. If your program has a co-op component, then you need to have a work permit. And if you work off campus, you need to have a work permit as well, I believe. So for that, you can apply once you are in Canada. But you do not need work permit to work on campus. Okay, do you have psychology master programs? We do have psychology programs at the undergraduate level, so Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science in Psychology, but not at the master's level. How long is the application and admission process? So it depends on the program. In most cases, let's say in 80% of cases, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to process your application. So let's say if you apply on October 1st, by October 20th, you'll have an answer. Some programs, let's say MBA, if you apply for that, may take a bit longer, about a month. So yeah, about, let's say 3 weeks to a month later, you'll hear the reply. And if you're accepted, you'll receive the offer. Then you'll have about 1 month to pay your tuition deposit. And after that, you will receive a letter of acceptance, LOA. That is the document with which you apply for study permit, Canadian study permit and visa. And after that, if you receive your study permit, then congratulations. You wait for your time and travel to Canada when it's time. If you have a rejection, unfortunately, then that tuition deposit which you paid earlier will be refunded. Application fee, however, $150, is not refundable. Okay, a couple of engineering related questions, I think, which I answered. Speaking of social sciences, we do have a couple of options. We can connect one-on-one to discuss what you'd like to study at what level later on. But we do have undergraduate programs, so bachelor's, and I believe there is a certificate as well in social sciences. Okay, so question about hospitality management diploma, great choice as well. So we can discuss with you as well. Feel free to send me email or check our website, viu.ca, and you can contact us there. And then we can connect one-on-one and see where you are, what you have, and whether you meet requirements or not. I believe that's it. I looked through all the questions. And yeah, thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. And it's kind of late in the evening now, so I hope you have a nice evening and hope to see you in Canada soon. If there is no other questions, then thank you again, and we'll meet in Canada hopefully next year.
Thank you for your presentation, Mikhail. Just if you are there, could you please share your contact information in the chat box, please?
Sure, 1 second. I'll drop it in the chat right now.
Thank you again, Mikhail. Katıldığınız için çok teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Yarın da saat 4'te ve 6'da webinarlarımız olacak. Hepinizi bekleriz tekrar. İyi akşamlar.